at Church of Uganda Family TV. My beautiful name is Claire Bwenje, your world's favorite host. Welcome, welcome, and thank you very much for joining in. Thank you for loving Church of Uganda Family TV, and thank you for loving Family Hour. We are here definitely every Monday to Friday, and today we are here under the theme of parenting. We have a great couple that is already here in the studio to share with us their insights, their mind on this great topic, which is training children to lead in this generation. These are the right people. Join me, welcome the Muhairwes, Mr. Erasmus Muhairwe, together with his dear wife, Diana Muhairwe. I'll ask them where they got this name from because you're most welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, please say hello to the viewers and then we'll start the show. You let us know this hard name, Diana. Where is this hard name coming from? Please say hello to the viewers.
Thank you, Claire. Hello, viewers. Good evening.
Good evening, viewers. I'm delighted to be here. We are so glad to be here. Thank you, Claire, for hosting us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We are very happy to have you. Dear viewer, please don't forget that this show is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can check them out on the website or social media platforms. They will be happy and glad to have a chat with you. Why don't you allow us to dig straight into this topic tonight, training children to lead in this generation. But before we do this, may we please know who are the Muhairwes? What's special about the Muhairwes? How long have you been married? How many children? What makes you look that cute? Diana, please share with us before we can enter into the topic this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Erasmus, and she's Diana. We are the Muhairwes. We have been married for the last 13 years. We've been married for the last 13 years, and God has blessed us with 3 wonderful children and several other children we have taken care of.
Wow.
I work with the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority as a senior air traffic controller.
Wow.
And my job engages the aircraft, the pilot, giving them the guidance such that they don't collide with other aircraft in the air, so that they don't collide with obstacles, and so that passengers can reach their destination safely. Additionally, I'm a consultant in health and safety in Global Industrial Services Limited. We establish safety management systems for organizations at workplaces to ensure there is continuous improvement in safety, workers work safely in a safe environment. And my wife is a coach. We call her Coach D.
Oh, Coach D. Happy to have you, Coach D.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm the director at Bloom Solutions Limited, a coaching, training, and speaking company that helps individuals discover their God-given purpose and potential. But we also help companies and organizations to develop cohesive and productive teams through personal growth and leadership development. I am a certified John Maxwell coach, trainer, speaker, and DISC behavior analyst. Yeah. The Muhairwes believe in service.
Wow.
The Muhairwes believe in mentorship. We believe in people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that. I like it. I like it when you say that you believe in people. That's a good thing. It's a real good one. So straight to our topic this evening. We are so happy to have you and knowing that you're not ordinary people. Yeah, you're not for usual. So how were you trained to lead while growing up?
Yeah, thank you very much. growing up in a village setting, one of the things that I have in mind and that still comes to my daily operations was teamwork. Teamwork, we would work, we would go to the fields to take care of animals, and we would work as a team, and we would divide the roles, and we would ensure that each of us is taken care of. So each one had a turn, and we would respect those turns and ensure that we don't disappoint each other. So teamwork was key, and this is one of the things that is very, very important in leading. Then the roles were very, very clear. Communication was clear on who would do what. So effective communication is one of the things I have had from the beginning when I was a child. Each of us knew what to do, and roles were clarified, and separation of roles was key. There was no ambiguity. There was little or no ambiguity. I grew up with my grandparents, and they actually were very, very clear about our roles. For example, unlike like she will be telling you, for them, anyone would do anything, but for us, our roles as boys were clear, the roles of girls were clear, and would not interfere unless we have been asked to help. So clarity was one of those other qualities, effective communication. Maybe the other thing, and most importantly, was valuing people. We grew up we would interact with workers at home. My grandmother would serve us in the same dish with the workers, with the maids.
Wow.
And each of us would ask, for example, if you wanted more sauce, you would be whether you were a child of the home, whether you were from outside, you would pick from the same dish, and you would be served in accordance to your level of satisfaction. So this taught me to tolerate, to embrace everybody, and to work in diversity. So as I grew up, I knew everybody was important. I would not segregate. I rarely segregating, and I want to think that as we train our children to lead, we should continue to teach them to embrace and accommodate everyone. So our children actually know that as a value, and we have the same dining table. We share most of the things at home, and our children have no problem with that.
Wow. Wow. Well. Oh my God. Let me first listen from Diana, and then I can add on from there.
So for me, while growing up, I was so close to my dad, and my father was a very interesting individual who made very many mistakes, and I got to tap into his wisdom of the endless mistakes he had made. And he used to tell me, kind of, I had his secrets, but what shaped me in those conversations were how he would keep telling me, I did this, I blundered here, I did this, but this is why I have gone through this. So he taught me failing, that it is okay to fail, but also taking responsibility of your mistakes through the different conversations. Then honesty and integrity. I remember I was beaten very many times for trying to tell a lie, you know, for beating about the bush, trying to cover up for someone. Really, mommy betters. And it's a great skill in leadership. You need someone who is leading with integrity. As we grew up, we are also taught not to waste resources, because whenever we ate food, actually we used to cook food for the day, and if that food remained, it was preserved so well. But also there was something, I don't know whether it was about, you know, maybe planning, but mommy always said we put an extra, you know, if an extra sweet potato, an extra, if you're making bushera, make extra, put an extra glass. So you never know, someone might be passing and they need food. So that bit of showing us that there are people out there that may not have, and you need to take care of them. I found it very, very, very important. And then the last one was listening. Yeah. I grew up so close with my brother, and we used to make, we were very adventurous, and we would easily get distracted. But I remember a number of times when they pulled my ears, you know, punishment for not listening. And as I coach, as I parent, I find that listening to people is a great skill that we need, because I mean, everyone wants to be listened to. You wouldn't feel okay if you're talking to someone and they're not listening to you. So while growing up, the number of chibokos I got really were about not listening and getting so distracted.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you very much, the Muhairwe.
Yeah.
So did the beating help you, and maybe you started listening? Are you now a good listener, or?
Oh yes. How do you coach, how do you counsel if you're not listening?
Perfect.
Yeah,
that was
really
helpful.
Yeah.
So now I have two questions for you, and you will choose how to answer them. Would you say that leaders are born or made? Maybe you can first answer that. I would want to have your mind on that. Would you say leaders are born or made?
I would say that leaders are born and made. Leadership is really about influence. The world's renowned leader about leadership, John C. Maxwell, who happens to be my coach and mentor, has defined leadership as influence. The ability for one to influence, to cause someone to take a different course, just the ability to influence. So you realize that as much as some people are born with innate abilities of leadership, you can be trained to influence. Every day we are influencing. By me making a friend, I am influencing. By telling you, I think let's buy a purple coat instead of a green, I am influencing. Sure. So you realize you can make a leader. And that's why, for example, we train in people in leadership. And however, that said, there are people who are born with natural leadership skills. One of the things I do is the DISC behavioral method, which helps people discover their personalities, especially from the John Maxwell team. We focus a lot on communication and leadership. So with the DISC method, you're able to discover that actually this one has innate leadership strength, but we can also train. So those people who are naturally born with those, even then, they also need the shaping. When a talent or a gift is there and you don't shape it, it will not grow.
Exactly.
It will not grow. So you can shape the leadership. You can shape that. So leaders are born and made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well said.
Yeah,
you have something to add?
Yeah, I think she said it all, but I will add that that very last point, you can be born a leader, but when that talent is not
Yes, yes.
then that talent can die. Personally, I used not to talk. I would talk only when I am engaged, I'm asked. Yeah.
Your wife is laughing out loud.
I told him to.
So with time, you can see it. Even now, I'm on national TV.
Wow.
So, but I can tell you, I was a leader. I've been leading. I've been influencing. But it has been a deliberate effort to learn, for example, how to communicate. To learn how to engage others. So, like she said, leadership is born, but it is nurtured. It is also made. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. Now, talking about nurturing the talents. Now that we are under the theme of parenting, we would want to know. I know the parent out there would want to know, how can I help my child grow their talents, and how can they help them discover their talents?
Yeah, like we have said, it is important to help children discover or to identify who they are, because different children have different abilities, and they are unique. And this discovery, even if it is for us as the adults, as parents, when we do not know who we are, then we may not know where we may go or where we're supposed to go. So identifying children and knowing their abilities, their strengths, their uniqueness is very, very important. She normally helps children and parents through the exercises.
Through self-awareness exercises, where children, you get to know that my child is wired like this, and those exercises give you personal growth areas. In personal growth, we don't call them weaknesses, we call them personal growth areas. And as a parent, I need to help my child here. But when you realize that they're also strong here, means you focus there, because it is so easy to help someone from a point of strength, not weakness. And self-awareness is very key. Sometimes as parents, he has mentioned that as parents, we also need to be self-aware, especially how we are wired, because through the personality awareness that I take people through, we help the parents know that, for example, if I am the direct style of parent, how do I deal with a reserved child? Because the approach is different for the reserved and outgoing child, and the abilities are clearly spelled out and different and unique. So as a parent, you also need to know, because when you do not know, you might want to communicate to your child in the language that you understand, yet they have a language that they understand. But that said, these are assessments. God gives us wisdom to create wealth and bring solutions. I also believe it is very important when we talk about self-awareness for these children to know their identity in Christ. When you read, I think it should, David writes in Psalm 139, should be verse around 15 onwards, where he mentions about how he is made of God, how his being was not hidden from God, how he is a wonderful creation of God, that the works of God are wonderful, he is wonderfully and fearfully made. And also Jeremiah 1:5, where God tells us that before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you and I predestined you to be a prophet unto nations. That is talking already about influence. God knows us. So the children should not just know that, for example, I carried them in my womb as a parent for 9 months. They are coming from somewhere. And it's important for these children to know their source. Otherwise, you find that we are having identity crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
And knowing that even as we lead, as we do whatever we are doing, we have a supreme power behind us. There are situations that you know, Claire, that you face, and as a human being, you cannot handle, and you can only depend on God.
Sure.
So these children need to know that as parents, we are not the Alpha and Omega. They need to know that, yes, we can help them, but there is God, and they come from God. So that will help them to depend on God, to trust in God, to enable them go through life. Yeah. And I think the other thing when we talk about self-awareness is about to appreciate their culture, appreciate where they come from. Know if they have a village, let them know the village. Let them learn their language and other languages, so that, because you'll find that some of the causes of low self-esteem, I interact with a number of people, and people are like, I don't know where my father comes from. And they feel they do not have a belonging. Even when you're telling them about God, like, but who am I?
Oh, yeah.
So it is important that as parents, I know we are in modern day parenting, but let's take a step of informing these children, where they come from. If they have relatives, let them know, let them interact with them. It will help them in the future. And the other aspect we really would encourage parents is about, taking risks. Taking risks. I have taken a number of risks and failed. When we joined our marriage, he was almost, risk averse. He used to fear risks, a number of them, and I was the one that, takes risks sometimes without even thinking. But along the way you grow, these children need to be encouraged to take risks. As a leader, you want to try, because if you have a following, if you're influencing people, you need to be sometimes a step ahead. And you're not always going to have the assurance that the step I have taken is the right one. So you need to get off the fear of, what if I fail when I take this step? But think positively and say, what if I succeed when I take the step? Yeah? And so that you can guide your following. So we believe that taking risks is one of the key qualities that leaders need. And we have taken some big risks, especially with our children. We have, by the grace of God, our daughter, now 12, is an international chess champion. Daddy is very good at putting the titles so well. But she is an international chess champion, player, and we have only moved out of Uganda with her once. And that was just one of us. But the other times we have sent her very many miles away from Uganda with just her teammates and coaches as far as Kazakhstan, South Africa, Egypt, a number of countries. And it's a risk as parents, but we also need to help her to be independent, to think independently. I remember one of the times she had gone, I think she was in Kenya, Nairobi, yeah. and her money was stolen. And we were like, you know what, figure out what to do. You have friends, you have team members, you have coaches, see how to survive. Good enough, you're being given meals. So figure out what to do. And she came up with a solution and told us, this is what I'm going to do. Like, good. But if we had kind of spoon-fed her, she wouldn't have solved, the problem that was there. And I think our boys pick the curiosity and being so adventurous from me in my childhood. They are quite adventurous, and we allow them. We allow them to take the risks, and without judgment.
Okay.
Because he is trained and skilled in giving instructions and guiding, he is better at that and is more clear really at that. And we'll take them through the consequences of the risks and say, if you do this, this is what is most likely to happen, but we leave it open for them. And then empathy. I think, not just thinking, but I really believe that in leadership, anyone, not just children, need to have empathy for the others. Because how else are you going to influence if you can't be empathetic? I think you can.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Talking about taking risks, you as fellow parents, we need to allow our children to fail. Our daughter had a problem with failing. She always wanted to win. By God's grace, she would be number one in class, and she would do things well. But whenever she would fail, she would really break. So it was a burden as parents to teach our daughter that failing is part of life. Unfortunately, our education system categorizes us into winners and failures. And this is very, very unfortunate. Children are unique. They are not necessarily failures, but they are areas of strength that they have. So allowing them to fail. We were lucky that God gave us an opportunity, and we allowed her to run chess. The chess game taught her how to fail. They beat her.
Wow.
They beat her hands down and she cried. And she went for another game and they beat her. But through the games, the various games and engagement, she began to look at losing as learning. In fact, she normally tells us that actually in this tournament I have learned. There you will know that a number of people have beaten her. So she now knows that you can either win or learn. So allowing our children to fail is one of those important elements in allowing them to lead. Back in school, by the way, I did science. I was a proud scientist. Whenever I would be holding my Nelcon and Parker, a physics textbook, and passing by the block of arts.
You'd feel like
He has the world.
You're not doing science and you're doing well. It was as if we had arrived. Very, very unfortunate. Little did I know that when we go out into the world levels you, and there are very many other things that it looks at other than those. So we need to teach our children to look at other aspects that is why someone, my friend was telling me, that is why most of these people, the tallest buildings in Kampala, when you look at the biggest businesses that we have, are not necessarily owned by those who were getting A in chemistry, A in physics, and so on. But these elements of effective communication, tolerating others, learning to live and survive with others, depending on others, are some of the elements that help our children to lead and influence, to depend. Some of these things we would learn them by condition, like borrowing, for example. When you borrow, it means you learn how to take care of what you have borrowed, and you learn to respect that one that you borrowed from. So those are some of the things that, other than choosing them for failing, other than choosing them for not doing as it is, as you are looking at it as, and failing also to look at their perspective of looking at things. One other important thing that I want to put across is that children need to be handled differently at different stages. Different approaches at different stages. As they grow, there are certain things there are certain methods that will not work. You have to adjust and change. And in the same way, different children require different approaches. We have, when we are disciplining, we have different categories of children. The girl fears the cane. The boy, you will want to punish them, and then you say, I'm going to beat you. Then you tell Daddy, actually, Chiboko is there in the corner. Can I bring it?
Oh my God.
So the two are very, very different. And therefore, when you're disciplining, you know that one you would use another approach. So very, very important that different children can be handled differently. And maybe the other thing is that these children may not necessarily be brought up or handled in the same way like they brought us up, because the world has changed.
Exactly.
They used to tell us that,
when you sit on a motor, for example, become short.
I hear children, and even now they still tell them that when they remove your tooth, they put it somewhere.
Yeah.
But with information, with the information age of this generation, some of these things will cease to be comprehended or understood. They will ask questions and you'll be stuck.
Exactly, because they will ask.
Yeah, our experience with our children is that they always ask us why. And
the why generation.
Yeah, and if you're looking at shaping a leader, nurturing a leader, they need to understand from first principles, why are we doing this? Not just making them live in fear, because then they're not going to lead effectively. So we need to tell them, okay, if it is removing teeth, tell them that when you grow, the first teeth go, and be patient and explain to them. Do some research, explain to them in simple terms, and if you're looking at ways of motivating them, find ways that motivate them according to how they are wired. And that's why it goes back to self-awareness. Yeah, and you'll find that different children are motivated differently. So the person who wants facts and logic, the child who wants facts and logic, will over ask why, and will not. You will need to give them candid reasons. But there are those children, it's okay, mommy has said, it's okay, they don't want to ask the reason. So that's what he's saying, that you have to have different approaches, but it's important to tell the children the actual reason why, and not fear that they are actually too young, that they're still young. They will find the reasons out there, and you want you want a grounded leader, not one who is going to begin fetching information from here and there and end up confused. Because as parents, we have an opportunity to make the first impression, and they go by that. They will trust us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm so impressed, and I really like what you're sharing. You really know too much. But is this coming from how you were parenting? Is it the same way you are you parenting the way you were parented, or how are you doing it? Is it something you've learned? Have you learned on job? How has it been like?
Maybe before he comes in, I must say most of these things I learned them. She normally makes fun of me. The things of I'm sorry, thank you, and so on. These are things that I learned, especially after marriage anyway. So from where we began from, like, we can learn these things. We can learn these things. I grew up with my grandmother and my grandfather. They loved me. And but it was not this love that is demonstrated. We would perceive that we are loved. But today we demonstrate this love. When I did something, when I did what I was supposed to do, it was not necessary, for example, to be appreciated by word of mouth. I would know that they are happy, and I would rest with that. But today, we need to tell these children that we love them, because maybe we were not meeting many people. The world was different. There were not many people to confuse us. But today, when you don't assure the child that you love them, they will meet people who assure them that they love them.
That's true.
And maybe they will know those other people love them and you don't love them. It may not be as it was with us. So, and again, it is a very deliberate effort to learn how to take care of these children. We read and we give time to these children. A very, very important thing. Out of our busy schedules, we ensure that we have games with these children. We tell stories to these children. We read the Bible together. All our children know how that have learned how to read. We can say maybe P2 and above. We have read with them the book of Genesis, those stories, the book of Exodus, the Israelites, how they moved with Moses, and the Judges. My daughter liked the Judges so much, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. So we deliberately have time with them. Exactly. They like stories, and we have given them time.
And maybe just to add on that being deliberate and intentional, a funny thing is that we actually have no TV at home. It was a deliberate choice. We figured we would be out there, spend a lot of time there, and the only time would be on the screen. And so we decided, good enough, it got spoiled.
Yeah, it got spoiled.
That issue would be corrected. But we're like, thank God. Now we have an opportunity to keep telling them that it is spoiled and we have not yet gotten the money. And the kids who were, now these included our biological and the other ones were taken care of because our house has always been full with kids, children, different stages. They first found it difficult, but we told them, when we are here, not going to the bedroom. All of you come here. So eventually people started developing conversations amongst themselves, using pillowcases, these cushions in the chairs, looking out for board games, and there was more connectedness within the family, and
that.
Conversations started flowing. And we said, we can sacrifice this TV for the sake of these children.
Yeah.
So that's the bit of intentionality. We have what we call the law of buying. You know, you have to. There is something you're going to have to lose in order to get something.
That's true.
And as parents, there are certain things that we are going to sacrifice so that we can get the best as we train these children to be leaders. Yeah.
Now that's deep. Okay.
Our children know, for example, that when it is time for meals, we don't touch gadgets. Mommy doesn't, Daddy doesn't. Actually, on a few occasions, when there is a call that is urgent, I actually ask them. I ask their approval. That can I pick and tell them that I will call you later. So they know, and we have connecting with children sometimes has been distracted by the wrong use of gadgets. Well, there is time, for example, the Saturday is Saturday evening is movie night. We watch with them. We give them these gadgets at times that we have agreed, and to do particular things with these gadgets that are monitored. So we connect with them and we don't allow them to be distracted. And actually, even when we go out to visit, we don't find it. She has told you that we have not had TV for the last about 10 years. But I mean, we get the information, we share information with them. They ask what is happening. They are updated. There is a way we keep updated, so we don't face the disadvantages. Very say, of course, it is a sacrifice, but it is a sacrifice to achieve this that we are enjoying. Thank you very much.
You know, our approach, Claire, is really not so much. Like you mentioned, most of these things we have learnt on the job. I have been lucky. I have gone and trained in leadership. Back in the day, our parents, for my parents, if they said something, it was written in stone.
That's true.
Daddy has said this, Mommy has said this, no.
As it was, so forever it shall
So
be.
forever. But today we learn that these children, if you want to nurture them to be leaders, you need to bring them on table. How will they learn to make decisions? How will they learn to negotiate? How will they learn to reason, for example? Critical thinking is out of that discussion. So our approach is that we give them an opportunity to make decisions. We most of the times will ask them, we'll tell them, for example, we are going to the village on Saturday, like for example, during holidays they want to usually go and watch cinema, the 3D. And so I remember last holiday we wanted to go spend first term holiday in the village, and we had to sacrifice cinema, and it's them who made the decision. We told them we are going to the village, we have this program, in the village, but if we go, it means that we are going to sacrifice the cinema. And they're like, Daddy, yeah. And he had been promising them and they were looking forward. But eventually they're like, you know what? Let's go to the village. And they need to learn those things. We give them an opportunity. We have swallowed our pride, having been brought by such parents. It is very, very, it comes unconscious. It's an unconscious action. You find that you are also tending to treat them like you were brought up. But we are becoming more and more intentional about letting them question us, letting them challenge us. So we listen to them and value their opinions. The other thing I picked from my father was the bit of affirming. Daddy always told me, you are so beautiful and I'm proud of you. Wow. From the time I started understanding. Now these people were not told that. So I couldn't easily be deceived by anyone, about beauty and what. For me, it was a normal thing. So we affirm these children. We tell them how unique they are, not just to make them feel good, but because we have taken them, as they keep growing, we take them through this, spiritual giftedness, we take them through personality, awareness, and we tell them, you can see, you read for yourself, I am gifted here, I'm gifted here, I'm gifted here. So we affirm them based on their strength, not for the sake of them feeling good. And they know we believe in them. They know we believe in them. One of our children wrote me a letter, and they forgot to hand it over to me. And I found it in the drawer as I was sorting things. And part of the line was saying, Mommy, you are just like a peer. I can tell you anything and you will not judge me and you believe in my strength. I dropped a tear. I was like, wow. Sometimes you're telling them and it's as if they've not heard, But looking at that feedback, I was like, God, you want to pat on yourself on the shoulder and you're like, okay. If you think you're standing, yeah. But we believe in them and we assure them that they actually have the potential, that not even the sky is their limit. We definitely assign them responsibilities. Personally, and I picked it from Mommy. Whenever I would be home for holiday, Mommy would not wake up to make breakfast. So even when they are little, as long as they are at home, I am the queen. They will wake up, do the stuff. I just give a few instructions, and yeah.
Wow.
So we give them responsibilities.
Wow. I am really enjoying this, and I'm learning a lot from you, and I know that viewer out there is really, really happy about this. How do you see the future of leadership evolving for children in this generation?
Like I've said before, the future will be very, very different from what we are seeing now. And we are looking at one of the other things that we need to take care of as we raise leaders in these children is the issue of inclusivity and diversity. Being able to accommodate the different cultures, the different ways of looking at things. And this is very, very important. Maybe previously the world was very small, but now we interact with a number of people who have different beliefs. So one of the things we should take into consideration is diversity, being able to appreciate diversity. The other thing that I'll talk about is the focus on the digital nature of operating. We are in a world of information, social media. Initially, when these Facebook, WhatsApp came, maybe we looked at them as distractors and so on. But these days, sometimes meetings are done on, and notices are made, very, very important notices for organizations on WhatsApp. Communications are done on Twitter, and the digital migration is taking us up. So as we raise these leaders, we should ensure that they will at one time be coding, and they will be using technology at a level that is higher than. But in that digital migration, we have to consider ethical considerations. Ethical considerations in embracing that, because otherwise they can be misused. So the ethical consideration is very, very important, even as we embrace the digital migration.
For the future leaders, I see that the change is going to be around them having a really global mindset, because the world is becoming a global village with the use of technology. Technology is now connecting people. I am here and I am chatting with someone in the US, and we are discussing a project and we are doing a project. So these future leaders will need to definitely have a global mindset, so that they can tackle global challenges. The challenges that we are going to have tomorrow are going not to be just challenges of Uganda. The world is really evolving, and before we know it, we are going to be a global village.
Sure.
So they need to have a global challenge, not just be, here and look at problems here. I can be in Uganda and I'm doing business in South Africa, in Brazil, and I am just here. So that's the mindset that they're going to have, because the competition is increasing. Yeah, and that, in addition to that, there's need for emotional intelligence, increased emotional intelligence, because of that global connectivity. There's now need for them to be empathetic, more empathetic, understand diverse cultures, and be very, very open-minded and positive. But also they will need to understand themselves more. Otherwise, they are going to be people who might not have values. And what is a leader? What kind of leader has no values? Yeah, so there's need for that, and definitely innovation and creativity. With the increase in technology, with the increase, we are going to have more complex problems. So there's need for them to really think outside of the box. There are going to be that need for them to think outside the box, so that they can provide new solutions to old problems which have become more complicated.
Wow. Thank you very much. Our time is already spent. You needed like 2 hours or 3. Wow. Give us your final remarks and then we say good night.
Okay, so
just briefly.
I can just say